Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Catholic Talk Show. Today, we're going to be asking Father Rich, what's the worst part about being a priest?
Yeah, we all have jobs and we all have aspects of our jobs that we don't like, and it's the exact same thing for a Catholic priest. And we're going to explore all those things that are irritating and difficult.
I've been waiting for this for a long time. So let's get this thing started.
Got a lot of problems with you people.
Got a lot of problems right now.
All right, it's good to be back in the studio with you guys.
This is going to be like a therapy session right now.
We were just talking about maybe sending this to your bishop overnight.
This is not allowed to go to Bishop Esteves.
No, in all seriousness, this is kind of interesting topic here.
Well, we're going to find that out, I suppose.
I think so. So, like I said, everyone has a job, and there's parts of everyone's job they dislike, whether it's here's a meeting that could have been an email. Here's a boss who's looking over your shoulder too often.
PowerPoints.
Yeah, here's, employee politics that you don't get along with, people eating your food out of the fridge, whatever. Everybody has some gripes about their job. And it would be naive to say that a priest doesn't as well. Now, This episode is certainly not about complaining about the priesthood of Jesus Christ or saying that, griping. This is really meant to be humorous. And those little things that are kind of anecdotally maybe irritating or funny or just kind of quirks of the actual practical life of a priest. So, Father Rich, it must be nice only having to work one day a week, right?
Yeah. You know what's funny? I just actually covered that with my parishioners 2 weeks ago. I said, for those of you that think I only work on Sunday and I get all dressed up and then I come here and that's it. There's another aspect to priesthood than that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be one of the things that would irritate me most is that the perception is that, you roll around and you eat everyone's pasta all week and then on Sunday you do your work and that's it. I mean, That's not really the case. I mean, how often do you hear that?
Oh, I hear it. No, and I think, there's a majority of people out there, I do like the breakdown of like 20% are your fans. Like they love you, they support you Monday through Sunday, like, just good people. And then you have like 40% that don't care. 40% that hate you, and it's like somewhere in between, it's like you find your way. But no, I mean, there's a lot of people who really have never even thought of it. Like even growing up, like, did I think about how the priest was living his daily life? Not really. No. I did. It didn't even, come to mind. I wasn't even interested to really know. I shared recently, the things that I love about my priesthood, and certainly the weekdays after daily mass. I mean, I love what I do. I mean, I genuinely, absolutely love what I do. But the one thing that does peeve me and like gets me aggravated is when people presume I don't do anything. That's definitely one.
I mean, your average day is what, 12 hours, 10 hours?
Yeah, probably on average. It would be cool if I kept a count for that. It would be cool to just kind of get a rough idea of what average hours a day would be. But yeah, I would probably say 12. Yeah, I would probably say 12, 13 hours. There's been some days where it's been longer, and it's those days where it's like you're being called out in the middle of the night after a really long day, and you just realize, my life is in the hands of God, and I'm in the hands of the potter. It's fascinating those days.
Well, we haven't done enough bitching yet, so can we kind of get this? Can we kind of get this
I'm
off the
probably sharing
ground
things that I like about my priesthood. So plug me again, man, because I do. I get aggravated when people presume I don't do anything. Another thing?
Oh, what?
Another thing. All right, I'll give you another thing.
Should we start another cup of coffee?
We're
gonna be here a while.
Coffee talk.
When I'm wearing my clerics, right?
Your priest clothes.
My priest clothes, and people act differently.
Yeah.
And they just, they have a certain way of expressing themselves. and then they immediately shift to priest mode, or this is how
What does
I'm
that
going to
look like
interact.
most of the time?
Oh, there's a funny show like Father Ted, completely crashed television show.
That's
English
like the British guys.
English humor,
Yeah.
yeah, very, very English humor. But there's this couple, this married couple that fight like constantly, and they're just brutal to each other. And then when Father Ted comes around, oh, good afternoon, Father Ted. Oh, it's just so wonderful to see you out here, Father Ted. And they act like they're just such good parishioners. It's like, let's just face it, we all don't have it together.
No.
We don't have it together.
We're all here because we're not all there.
I appreciate when people could be vulnerable, open up their hearts, open up their lives, and just be themselves.
Like
right?
me and,
It's like
me
start
and
there.
Ryan.
Yeah, exactly like you and Ryan.
Do you want
There's
everyone to go to that
pretension.
level?
No, please. That would drive me crazy. These guys drive me crazy.
So another thing, which I can only presume is terribly irritating, is being compared to other priests, or maybe the priest who was before you.
I just received an email. That's so weird that you said that. Literally before the show, I received an email from somebody like that.
Now, what was it?
It was just like, Father, if you want to run a successful church, you really need to talk to Father so-and-so, because Father so-and-so did this, and this. And you should I could put you in contact with him because he's a good friend, like that type of a thing.
It's like the passive, like, you're not as good as
You're
Father.
not that good. Yeah, you're not that good,
Yeah.
And there is a sense of pride, right? That is in everybody's heart, that you want to try to do your very best. But there's also a sense of self that you never measure up. Like that's in all of us, right? It's in me, it's in pastors as well. So you begin to analyze yourself and you're like, yeah, man, I totally stink. Like I'm terrible, I'm just terrible. So that can definitely happen and people don't realize the power of their words sometimes.
A lot of this is familiar. You know?
I mean, it's the same kind of stuff you feel in your,
Yeah.
like, hey, you'd be a lot better at running your, tire dealership if you did what, Tire Kingdom did. Or,
Yeah.
I mean, it's the
There
same
is.
thing, just replace a couple
Look
operative
at
words.
the deals over there.
Are you a consultant?
Well, being the eye candy of the show, which is the only reason we have you on, obviously.
Oh, that's so ridiculous.
We're only on for the 18 to 25 demographic. Otherwise, we would have gotten, the other priests we were just talking about.
Let's face it, I'm no Mike
Father,
Schmitz.
you are
I
no
know
Mike
where you're going with
Schmitz.
this. Father, what a waste.
Yeah, Father, what a
You
waste.
ever get that?
I do.
Yeah.
The poor thing.
That's flattering, man.
Yeah,
That's flattering.
flattering?
Yeah,
It doesn't
it's
irritate you
flattering.
that ever said
not
that?
at all. No, not at all.
But, how
But
about
I suppose
like, hey, my collar's down here.
it does make me question, like, who should answer the call to the priest? Like, who? We all have gifts, we all have different talents, and why not put that at the service of the gospel? Like, that's like the greatest thing you could ever do with your life. I think I've got plenty of wrinkles on my forehead, and like we're all super.
No, yeah, you look like a catcher's mitt.
I do. Bishop Toops from Beaumont, Texas. A big shout out to him. And Bishop Toops, I don't even know how old he is, but he
hasn't aged.
He doesn't age.
No.
So I'm in the refectory because he was my rector my last year at the seminary, and I'm walking into the cafeteria, and I'm getting a cup of coffee, and I'm walking out, and I start talking with him, and he's like, "Rich, got a lot of wrinkles on your forehead." And I'm like, "I'm sorry, we can't all be perfect like you, Bishop Toops."
Yeah, he doesn't have any wrinkles.
He doesn't have any wrinkles.
You
man.
should ask him about his
Doesn't have any
skincare.
gray hairs. I've got grays coming out all over the place. Hairs
Father
coming out of my
Toops,
ears.
he's got lateral movement. He could actually double as a Mormon too. Yeah, I think so too.
You got to ask him
God
about his
bless him.
skincare regimen.
I have to figure out a
That's it.
skincare regimen.
He's got good genes.
I'm falling apart. Got good genes.
He's got good genes.
Good genes, Delacroix.
Now, but I think the second part to this one, which is pretty irritating, and it falls from that is, hey, Padre, don't you miss women?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I get that. Yeah, I had a hair, a guy, a barber over by Arlington, actually.
Yeah.
So I used to go in there and we'd be talking and hanging out, and I didn't come in my collar, so we just started talking sports for a while, and then just became buddies, and And then they found out I was a priest. So the conversation obviously shifted, and it started going deeper and deeper. And so one day he started feeling comfortable with me. So he's like, Padre P, this whole celibacy thing, you're never going to have a girl the rest of your life. You're okay with that? And I'm like, yeah. I said, I feel invited by Christ to this way of life that he lived, and there's beautiful elements to it. You have good,
answer.
you have good days, you have bad days. And he turns to me, he's like, Father, I'd rather go vegan than virgin.
Which you're basically doing both now, too.
And now I'm doing this plant-based diet, man. I am as happy and as energetic as I possibly can be.
Yeah, so for all of you who haven't watched us in a while or seen a more recent episode, Father's wasting away here, and we need your donations because for just $2 a month, you can have Father
remember you.
I'm just gonna
For just $5 a month, you can sponsor a priest so he doesn't waste away. Father Rich has lost 40 pounds since the pandemic hit. And with the decrease in donations,
I think he gave those 40 pounds to me.
the pandemic bod.
Yeah, gosh,
it's a real thing.
So what about some of the things of people communicating or trying to get in touch with you, email, phone calls, stuff like that? Did I hit a sore spot?
Did they email you from the website? How do they get your email address? You put that out there?
Don't go sharing that now. Everyone's gonna.
I know. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
So living in the modern era, accessibility is out there, right? Through social media, through website, through your cell phone, to the office line, email, snail mail. We get it all, and it's nonstop. It's just nonstop. That's why we have to go on retreats, or if we take a day off, it's good practice to shut off your phone for the day. But it's aggravating when people have such high expectations. The modern generation, the younger generation is criticized for saying, okay, somebody texts you and they expect like a text right back. Father Tetlow gives me a hard time about that too, because I'll text him and I'll want to text back like right now. Like, why aren't you responding to me? It's challenging. Like, it's really, really challenging. I've had people, express in anger that, Father Rich is just absolutely inaccessible. He set it up that way himself because he doesn't want to be
an ivory tower.
Yeah, and I sit in an ivory tower. I definitely not. I have my email is published, right? My social media accounts are out there. You have the phone number of the church. You can go through that online service and type in number associated with Father Pagano and leave a voicemail.
You're going to be getting some calls now.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Because you won't answer them.
There's a reason why I'm not accessible.
Oh,
yeah. That's a bad one.
That one's probably the most sore one on me right now.
Though, but it happens to us too. I mean, we're executives in a company, and you get a lot of emails with requests and thoughts and opinions and partnerships, and you're still doing work.
And some people you can get back to, other people you might slip through the cracks.
Yeah, I mean, I know it happens, in our day-to-day work where there's someone that I fully intend to get back to, and
you just can't do it.
And I can't, and then it slips through the cracks. But then as a priest, they're like, I've been abandoned. I've been left to die. And in the grasp of Satan because the priest didn't email me back about
horrible, man.
This meeting or that.
Mm-hmm.
How about are there any things related to the priest scandals and things like that kind of come off?
That's probably the heaviest, most serious, how
many times have you been called a pedophile?
A lot. I mean, especially online, being on social media, it happens daily, really. Yeah. I mean, and after a while.
But those are all people that would never say it to your face. You got to understand that. These are like the most cowardly people.
But there are people that have said it to my face too. And there's people's faces that say it to me when they see me in my collar. Yeah. And the look that you get. So that's definitely painful. For sure.
We got to pray for priests because that's a big deal, getting them through stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine that, if you're a teacher, and there's a lot of teachers listening, well, I mean, the rate of sexual abuse among teachers is much higher than it is among priests. Yeah. You don't have someone like, oh, you're a teacher? Oh, okay, pedophile.
The immediate association.
Yeah, there's that nothing immediate, or, oh, you're a sports coach, which again, athletic coaches of teens have a higher rate of sex abuse than priests. You don't say, oh, hey, coach, nice play, pedophile. It doesn't work like that, right?
Yeah.
Or so. Yeah, that'd be pretty irritating.
No, it's It probably, but that's definitely not irritating. It's just It's painful. And again, Jesus asked me in prayer a long time ago, is the church worthy of suffering for? And how do you respond to the Lord when he asks you that? And when you're suffering for past sins of, even if it's a minority, it still should have never happened. Is the church worthy to suffer for? Yeah, the church is worth it to suffer for.
You see that like with people grateful for the show. You probably also experience that through just being present sacramentally to somebody in a hospital. I mean, the good far outweighs the bad in that sense,
without a doubt.
Yeah.
And I don't think and this probably sounds completely Pollyanna, but like I very rarely receive praise like in my heart. There's just this kind of barrier inside of me where I don't receive praise. I don't feel I'm worthy of praise. I'm certainly not worthy of this call. I'm blessed that I get to live my life this way, but a lot of it is just what Christ has shown me, or the people that he's put me in contact with, and the people that I've been able to grow with alongside. And that's the thing that I love the most, is that we're growing together. And even in the show, like that's what the show's all about. We're growing in understanding of the faith. Yeah. I don't know everything. Sheila knows everything. We're just here listening. We're just here listening to Sheila. No, but like we all have our contributing things, right? We all have our contributions. We all have our own understanding, our own experiences of God and scripture. And there's a value in sharing in that, and then looking to the magisterium, looking to the bishops, looking to the saints throughout history, and doing that together. Like that's the joy of this life,
All right, now before we get into some
I'm
more,
supposed to be like aggravated, not aggravated though.
Now before we get into more of these, though, I do want to say something that I know aggravates Father Rich, and he talks about this all the time. He grumbles around when we're not recording. He's like, there's that dog you kicked over, and it was
that is not true. It. We all know
scandalous.
We all know who doesn't like dogs at this table.
Who has a dog and who doesn't?
Well, if I had time to have a dog.
You have 6 days a week to have a dog.
If I had a dog, my dog would go to heaven.
You have 6 days a week to have a dog. You only work 1 day a week. I don't want to hear it. Father, what a waste. So no, one of the things that really irritates.
Angry now.
I know.
One of the things that irritates them is when people watching our videos don't click subscribe.
Oh, that is the most aggravating. It's so easy. Just
I can tell you guys are very angry.
Man, oh man.
I mean, he cries all the time about it. He's like, Ryan, I just don't understand. I mean, they're watching it. They're right there. I mean, they have to move a mouse maybe 2 inches on a screen.
Please, already, would you?
I mean, what for?
You guys are shameless.
By all the saints in Christendom, just click the button.
So if you are watching YouTube right now, just please,
could you please
subscribe?
Yeah.
Hit the bell, and then you'll get every show that we have.
And then you can hear Father Rich complain about his job.
All sorts of things.
Like if you don't already hear that enough from your spouse, now you get to hear it from him too. But one thing that we are grateful for that's not irritating is we are really grateful for the support of our patrons and our sponsors.
Especially our sponsors, Exodus 90 and Ave Maria University. Exodus 90 is an excellent 90-day program for men to consider being a part of. There have been tens of thousands of followers on this platform that have absolutely renewed their masculinity, renewed their faith in Jesus Christ, and the disciplines of the flesh. It's a 90-day program that you will never forget. And the disciplines of austerity, of cold showers, of eating in a disciplined manner, of praying daily and staying committed to a community is the structure to the success. So we want to encourage you out there, if you haven't done Exodus 90 yet, or if you want a renewal of Exodus 90, if you've already done it, make sure you check them out today.
Yeah, the Lent Exodus this year starts January 4th of 2021. So make sure you click the link below. You'll be able to register, get all the information for this Exodus, and it's going to be really fantastic. Just like last year, where over 35,000 men took that.
Another one of our sponsors, Ave Maria University, is my alma mater, where I went to school for my undergrad degree in philosophy. There's over 30 majors, a wonderful community of people who are striving to learn academically and grow spiritually. In the Catholic tradition, set in the beautiful climate of South Florida, just outside of Naples, a beautiful campus. And, you know, there's great fishing out there, great hiking, and sun year round. So if you're in the northern parts of our country, in Canada, and different places, make sure you check out Ave Maria University. It's a paradise of a place, but the best thing that you could ever do in going there is grow in your understanding of the wonderful heritage of our faith, grow in all these different academic practices, and grow in the spirit of our fellowship in the faith.
Excellent. And then also make sure to go to catholictalkshow.com/Patreon. And there you can find all the different ways you can support us. There's all kinds of great tiers, different levels. We don't want your rent money. We just want your spare pocket change to help support the show. If you enjoy it, we encourage it. If you can't, say a prayer. If you can, we really appreciate it. But lots of different great things you can get: hoodies, cups, stickers, access to individual courses that aren't available anywhere else, all kinds of great stuff. So again, go to catholictalkshow.com/Patreon to find how you can support the show. Now, here's something else that I think would, as a priest, be incredibly irritating.
I'm going to sip a little water for this one.
That was obnoxious. No, you're going to have some water too.
I got something for him too.
All right.
You're gearing up over there.
Monday morning quarterbacking on the liturgy. Hey, Padre, that was a great homily, but you know what you should have said? Hey, did you forget to do that during the consecration? Like, just people just critiquing that day long.
There was somebody that used to sit in the back of the church with a Roman missal and just not be prayerful at all, but just be following all the rubrics with one eye closed and one eye open, just watching, you know?
Quality control?
Oh, yeah, quality control.
Bishop
man.
Estevez checking up on you?
Oh, gosh.
Thank God Bishop Estevez is so nice to me, man. I have such a blessed, beautiful bishop. So that could be aggravating.
Just getting notes.
I think when people try to press politics into the pulpit, you know, like that's pretty aggravating
or
too.
to demand an answer from you. Who are you voting for? And
like, you know, when I first moved to the parish, people were like, "Oh, Father, we've got you tagged for this type of, you know," and it's like, I have never even said anything remotely related to politics. Why are you even going there? But then, you know, especially in an election year and in times, you know, like people want to press you.
Polemics just come out.
Yeah, it's like, I am called to proclaim the kingdom of God.
Yeah.
And my citizenship is in heaven. Our citizenship is in heaven. And we awaited a Savior, Jesus Christ, like St. Paul says in Philippians. Like, that's what I care about.
Yeah, but
Father, you have an obligation. You have an obligation. You have a responsibility. You need to. It's like,
where they become the priest police.
Yeah.
I mean, and there really is a tendency, and this is getting more and more out of control all the time, where people are going to mass, particularly if you're, I don't know, maybe getting a little bit too animated watching these YouTube videos designed to stir you up, right? In which.
You know, the other thing that gets me.
What's that?
Is when people come up to me and they speak poorly of my brother priests or poorly of other priests. And they say, "Oh, Father, but I came from a church where the priest, you know, was just impatient, but the priest was this and that and blah, blah, you know." And they're just still angry at their, you know, and you could see if there was a reason or a cause for like, you know, just cause. A lot of time it's just like preference of personality.
Yeah. Well, your job is to help them understand that and bring a chord to that situation. You know, I mean, you're going to get, I mean, it's just like my children, you know, they come to me, it's like, he's doing this, you know, I'm like, well, what did you do? Nothing? You know, like, where are you to blame? How can you improve on this? You know? You know? I got another one. One thing I'd like to say too about the kind of the polemic stuff that's kind of going on where you can kind of surface a priest police is like, I'm all with calling people out, right? I mean, like I'll call somebody out. People call me out. You guys, we both, you know, it should be out of the care of someone's soul.
Yeah.
Right. It should be out of the care of someone's soul. If you're not praying for those people, right? If you're not praying for your deserved enemies, whatever you want to call them, Like if you're not doing that, then what you're doing is you're sowing discord. Like you can call somebody out. That's fine. But when you start doing that, then you create this sort of idea and this concept that we need to just be calling everybody out.
Yeah.
We need to cleanse the church ourselves. We need to take this on all by ourselves instead of sitting down with the priest and talking through some things, or, you know, it's kind of a very disconnected world we live in terms of just sitting down with people and getting to know who they are and exchanging, you know,
the transformation the transformation of the world begins in love of neighbor.
Yeah.
And
love mercy too.
It has to.
It's, you know, it's one thing to say that somebody's deliberately undermining the church. It's another thing to say, hey, look, you know, like you have the ability to do so much good. You have, you're reinforcing their office or whatever with love, and you're starting at that point. At that point, you'll get open ears. You'll find somebody that cares about you, that can sit down with you, and we can talk. You know, I mean, like that kind of stuff is missing. I think it would do a lot of service to our church.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, a lot of people are out there. Yeah, like I said, Monday morning quarterbacking, and they're the guys saying, "Oh wow, that dude's a terrible quarterback." You know, this is a pro athlete who's trained his whole life. He could throw a football 75 yards, and you're like, "Wow, this guy sucks." and it's some dude laying on his couch eating chips who couldn't throw a football 10 yards if he tried, right? You know, but it does. It creates a culture of where it's just about, you know, commentary, and everyone thinks they're Jesus in the temple with the whip, and we're driving all these terrible people out of the church, but they're really the fat dude on the couch who can't throw a football, right? So yeah, that would drive me crazy.
There are people that could greatly benefit from an approach of like, you know, how are we serving the church right now? What are we doing? You know, and what is the outcome, right? Is there a measurable outcome? Is this something? You know, I get it. There's going to be people that are just so far out, so far gone. You're not going to be able to sit down with them. It's still a matter of love. It's still a matter of, I mean, it's Jesus on the cross loving a sinner, one of the worst sinners, you know, and bringing him to heaven with him almost immediately after he recognizes him. If God's plan for salvation is the patience that he offers us, right? As Paul says, I believe. If God's patience with us is this salvation that he's offering, why is that not the champion of what we're doing? Why is it not the salvation of souls? Why is it the souls that have been lost, and then you are in charge of those souls? And
we need a strong pastor who's going out and saving the souls of all the people who disagree with us politically.
If the bishop's not mad at you, you're not doing your job.
Yeah, the bishops are undermining the church, and they all need to be thrown out and vote them out of office.
Vote them out.
It's so stupid.
Here.
Look, man,
does that aggravate you?
I've heard that so much.
Huh? You heard that?
Yeah, you've heard what? Huh?
Well, two things from that. Number one, I think we need to consecrate our show to St. Dismas. We bring him up all the time. And we need an icon of him in here. Because
that's a great idea.
St. Dismas has come up on this show so many times. And St. Dismas is the good thief crucified next to Christ, for anyone who's not aware.
Yeah, the repentant thief.
So that's number one. Number two, and I think, let's get back into it though. Now, we're going to do a little shift maybe from the day-to-day irritations and grinds, but as a priest, there's got to be certain days of the year, certain seasons, liturgical feasts that are more irritating than others. So what are some of the, I guess, feast days or some of the liturgical seasons, and what are some of the things that irritate you most about them?
That's a tough question for me, because, you know, the first thing that comes to mind is like Christmas, Easter. Those are my favorite seasons. So I get all excited. You know, there's challenges going up to it for sure. Like there's challenges socially, there's challenges of organization, there's challenges of preparing different ministries to do different things. But you're talking about like the two, at least where my mind goes. Like, yeah, but where my mind goes are those two, you know, seasons. And man, they just went over my heart, man. I just love those seasons. So it's like hard for me to isolate what aggravates me around it. I mean, we prepared for Christmas this past year, and it was like we had this huge tent because we have a small facility, and we had everything prepped and ready to go. And I had told my maintenance guy to take care of and do an ant treatment on the field. and then it rained. He never did the ant treatment, so I had floodwaters under the tent and ants everywhere. Days going up to Christmas, and you
It's
just
a
have
Christmas miracle. God bless us, everyone.
and you had to laugh, man. And it's like, all right, God, like we're gonna do this. And the community came together, and we put together all of the prep, and we got everything set up, all the chairs, all of the ants treated, mulch and wood chips down, pine straw, and it looked gorgeous. Maybe there was a couple of wet feet here or there, but for the most part, it was possibly one of the most beautiful Christmases I'll ever, experience. Like, it was very powerful.
Yeah, but I got to imagine, like, being a priest, there's got to be a lot of those parts that are kind of difficult things, like just planning. It's just constant planning for this event and that event. It's just always, you got to plan for the next liturgy. You got to plan for the next, the church retreat. You got to plan for, there's a lot. You're pulled in 800 different directions.
We are. And some priests are. Some priests aren't. And there's some priests that probably don't enjoy administration. I've heard brothers say that.
I would be one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you would.
But you're like visionary. You are, and for me, like, I enjoy providing vision. I could do that all day. Like, I love doing that. But I also love, like, organization and flow and, like, challenges and how can we organize this? How can we position this? I do love that aspect of it too. What I would prefer, I prefer vision. But I think right next to that would be, like administration. I think.
I wonder if there's like Myers-Briggs or something like that, where you can actually kind of tell psychologically how people are made up and what, a lot of people don't understand their gifts and talents, or even in the priesthood, they don't know to have an administrator because they're a vision person, or vice versa. I'm an organizer. I need some help with vision, or however it works. I wonder if there's a way to kind of unveil that, because what I've learned in business is that if you've got a person that's doing something within an organization that's not in line with their gifts and talents, and that's our job to discern with them what their gifts and talents are, to put them in position to use those gifts and talents, because that provides a level of fulfillment for them that's beyond what's humanly possible, right? I wonder if there's a way to do that where, you can kind of help people discover that and put them in the right role, if you will, as a pastor within the organizational structure.
I think it with Howard, because Howard used to be a fisherman. He was working on one of the Gordon.
I think it was Gordon.
He's working with Gordon Inc.
He was a model.
Yeah, he was a model.
Since we're talking about the model, can the model come on the screen here?
Howard, poking your beautiful beard.
Howard, come
so
over
before
here.
Before Howard, we found the right role for him as a producer. He was a fisherman.
He was.
And this was the moment where we found his role and his gifts and talents. And together we looked to the stars.
There you go.
You can't see it there well.
That's the dumbest picture ever.
That's our stepbrother shot there.
Thank you, Howard, for everything you do. Yep. All right.
We love you, Howie.
Now get off the camera.
Go back to your corner.
Go to your corner.
Get out of here.
Think about what you've done.
What a model. I love Howie.
I got another thing too. You're talking about tents and mulch and stuff like that at the church. Catholics have to be per capita the most stingy donors on the planet. I don't know if this is true. I'm basing this assessment because when I was in DC, the pastor put out a document that said what percentage of people gave a certain amount of money.
Like percentage wise?
Right. So if it's like $100,000 a week, right? What percentage of people gave, $100 or $80
okay. And he put their names in there?
No.
Okay, I was going to say, man, that is a bad.
Talk about some problems being a priest right there.
That would be a lot of problems.
Yeah. But my wife and I. So my wife was a nurse at Walter Reed. We got paid pretty decent. We were young, and then I was a youth minister, and this was 15 years ago or something like that. I don't know. And they put it out, and I looked at Jen, and I was like, how could we? And we're in DC. This is a very wealthy place, right? The area we were in was really nice.
Yeah, y'all lived in a nice area.
And I'm looking at it, I'm going, I think it was like $300. I think we gave like $400 a month or something like that, or $600 a month. We were in the top percentage.
So they're saying like
a month.
3% of people give $400 a month. 50% give $20.
It was like negative. It was like negative 5%. It was like such a small number. And then it opened up, and there was the amount of parishioners that gave 0.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if those came there or not. You got to be fair to that, but. Man, I was.
But there's a substantial
shocked.
there's a substantial number of people that do give 0.
Yeah,
That do give 0.
Well, I think
because they're volunteering.
Well, no, they just don't do anything.
There's all sorts of reasons, and I wouldn't venture to say I know why, but there are, and I recall a vivid memory of being a young guy in the pew by myself praying. Collection basket comes around. I reach in my pocket. I throw, I think, like a 20 or something like that, or whatever. I think I was a youth minister at the time. I wasn't making a lot of money, but I threw a 20 in the basket, which I don't consider a lot of money.
You're stingy.
Yeah, I'm stingy. I'm a stingy Catholic. But then I look at this guy next to me, and he's like wearing beautiful clothes, older guy, successful business guy. And he has a wad. I'm talking about a wad of cash. Flipping through the wad of cash like that.
Trying to get to the dollar?
He got $1, bro. Like he got $1 and he put the $1 in the basket.
Yeah.
And I just thought and granted, I don't know. I don't know the person.
Yeah, you don't know. That cash could have been for,
See, I think a lot of Catholics,
drugs or something.
a lot of Catholics
You never know.
A lot of Catholics look at the church the way that a lot of kids look at their parents. They have no idea about the finances of their parents. They're like, look, I want a new PlayStation. And they're like, Dad, get it for me. And the kids are like, yeah, why cannot? And the parents are like, have to actually run a household, right?
Yeah.
You got to pay your bills and everything. And I think a lot of the people in the pews are like children, and they think it just all runs on its own. And the church has got plenty of money. They can buy what they got gold everywhere.
Yeah, gold.
They can do whatever they want. What do they need my $15 for? Right?
Yeah.
Where an infrastructure of effort of evangelization can only be as successful as the people who are contributing to it.
Yep. Yeah.
So, your infrastructure is based on people's generosity to the parish. So your capacity to hire within your structure, to have well-suited people, outstanding people at their job to accomplish evangelization in a localized area through different efforts, modern means of marketing, evangelization, and programming, and trips, and outreach, all of that stuff. The only way that we can create a healthy context is if generosity is happening. But I think there was like a Pew research years ago that I came across where people typically give on average like 2.8% of their overall income, or 3% of their
and
their
that's
income.
just Christian, or is that Catholic?
Yeah,
Christian
churches,
denominations,
and they do a good job.
Yeah,
because,
they do a good job.
But because that's fundamental, and that's baked into their
It's
their social understanding.
Trying to help people understand to give to where there's some pain there. It's like the guy that does Financial Peace University, Dave Ramsey, right? He's like, when I got my hand open and I'm giving, I'm putting in a place where God could give back to me, right? Makes a lot of sense. I think a lot of times in giving, the spiritual aspect of it is very important. Yeah. Poverty is very important in the spiritual souls of, our church. Sometimes I don't think that's expressed, and I'm critiquing priests now, something that you don't like. No, just joking.
And it's hard for priests to even venture to have the conversation, because then you do get people who say,
that's right,
Father, I hated my last church I was at. All I heard constantly was money, 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 money. Yeah. I don't want to make it ever about money.
No. Yeah, you know what? That's probably all they heard. That's not all that was said.
Yeah. That's true.
So what are some other things that really just as a priest are kind of irritating? Is it, making sure you order enough altar bread, making sure that your vestments are all in line, and what are some of those things that you just wouldn't think of as a layperson that are just things that irritate you and get under your skin?
To find out that there is a market on altar bread and they have pushed out the sisters.
Oh man.
Dude, Shield told me this yesterday, and I'm like, I am not going to order the unconsecrated hosts from this company anymore.
It's a company? It's like it's not even religious.
It's a commercial bakery.
It's a commercial bakery. It's not even a religious community.
You know, the guys are Catholic, or the founders are, and they're not bad people, but it's just the commoditization of altar bread. And yeah, that would.
It's pushed out a lot of
Dude,
sisters.
I'll never forget. Were you with us when we were in Mexico and they were making the host? I can't remember if that was that trip.
No, I don't think so.
I went into a room and the sisters were in there making it. It was a beautiful sight.
Oh, that's beautiful, man.
Yeah. It was a beautiful sight. They were so happy.
I would love to make our own here eventually once we get the campus built out, and to actually do that in-house, I think would be really, really cool. But in the meantime, I want to turn to these sisters and start supporting these religious congregations.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
if that's what they do.
Yeah. And there are so many religious communities out there that do it. You
And
have
they
to
rely
pay a
on
little
us.
bit. You have to pay a little bit more.
I don't think so.
Really?
I don't think it's more. As a matter of fact,
Is it marketing?
it's marketing. It's just reach. It's capability. Like, I think the higher reaches of what they can even produce in a month is maybe 100,000 hosts.
Yeah.
And then that's it. That's their cap. They can't make any more, and if they make less.
I've got to
but then other
shift
ones,
my purchasing.
they can make 100,000 a day,
Yeah.
right?
Coffee, you should be ordering it from the monks, right? Some fruit cake for Sunday.
Here's all the things you
Eat
should
the
be
fruit.
doing for too late.
You need to start thinking
You know what
about
drives
your
me crazy?
purchasing.
When people tell me what I need to do, Ryan.
Man, I'm starting to get good at it, though.
You've been really good at it. You've been good at it for years,
Thanks,
Ryan.
man.
All right. Well, so anything else? Anything else you want to? Any of the problems you want to share with people?
Well, besides all of these aggravating things, I do genuinely, I'm so grateful for my priesthood. I'm so grateful for the community that I worship with, the community that supports evangelization. We have really grown tremendously at the parish, and I'm just so happy to be here. And I have an awesome team, an awesome core group, and so I love my life. I love being a priest, and it's been a blessing. And I pray that God continues to work on me and sanctify me and make me holy.
Me too.
Yeah. So you guys can deal with me a little bit easier. Because I really do genuinely want to be able to treat occasions or obstacles or people that may say mean things and not to where my love is being withheld from people. Like I want to grow. I want to grow in love. I want to grow in mercy, and what it's about.
Do you feel better now?
Yeah, man, that was like a therapy session.
Yeah.
I appreciate
You
that.
could put the money on the table.
Yeah.
Stingy.
I'll give you 10%.
I'll give you 2.8%.
What's in my pocket, which is nothing right now.
So I want to thank all the listeners for allowing Father Rich to vent, and
You guys are so instrumental in this.
yeah, I don't know, this felt like
If you want to vent about your vocation in life, feel free to do so in the comment sections of our social
or
media.
make sure, like he said early in the episode, you could find his phone number and email
No,
address. And
do
you
not
can
do
send
that.
everything that is bothering
Please,
you
please do
to
not do
him
that.
directly.
No.
Don't
And
do
if
that.
there is anybody out there that unfortunately I did not get back to, I apologize. I don't mean to do that intentionally.
You do your best.
I do my best. I try.
Just do your best.
Just do your best.
All right. Now I want to say thank you to our sponsors, Exodus 90 and Ave Maria. There's links below to click them. If you go to the episode page of this on our website, CatholicTalkShow.com, there'll be all the information and the special offers that they have available for our listeners.
And
So-
consider becoming a patron today.
Yes, sir.
And it's getting cooler outside, guys. Get a hoodie with the Catholic Talk Show on it and sport that and look fresh out in the world.
Fresh and clean.
So fresh and
Very
so
comfortable.
clean.
All right, everyone. Thanks so much.
God bless. See you next week.